Hello, Tamily. Thank you for joining us. We are about to start an interview with the one and only Just Johnny Webster. So let's get connected. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for being an Ask Tamily interview.
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry, I was like stuffing food in my mouth so that I could eat before I did this so that I
Perfect.
wasn't hangry.
Well, it gave me a second to look up what number interview we're on, which is 146.
Yes, 146.
I'm so excited to interview you, Johnny. You've been a super inspirational member of the Tamily, so I know everyone will be joining to hear from you. So we do have some questions planned for you, of course, but we'll also take questions from the chat. We'll start with our favorite question, though, if we can jump right in, which is
Okay.
when and how did you start with the Tracy Anderson method?
Okay, so my Tracy Anderson method journey is kind of interesting because I'd heard about it years ago. A really good friend of mine at the time worked there, and she was always talking about Tracy Anderson method. And she started out as a receptionist and she eventually became the studio manager. And when she became the studio manager, she's like, you should come take a class, like a cardio dance class. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went and took a class, and I vomited afterwards. It was so hot and I was jumping and bouncing and I didn't have the right I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I took this class, I vomited in the bathroom. I forget who the teacher was at the time, but I don't think she's with Tracy Anderson anymore, but she was so great and she moves so fast. And like I have rhythm and like I can dance, but like I'm not like I can't pick up on choreography that easily. And so it was embarrassing and my friend was kind of embarrassed for me. And so then the next day, my shins were hurting. I could barely walk. Like, I just wasn't used to it. And so I didn't take class again for a really long time. And then every now and then I would pop in and take one of the like catalyst classes because that's the one where they like teach you the dance and then you do the dance. And then, so I did that. And then I kind of never really like took like the muscular structure classes. I never did those in the studio. And then I got close with like Maria and some of the trainers and I would always follow them and I kept in touch, but I never really knew how to become a member. It's so expensive and I'm broke. So like I can't afford to be a member. I live in LA and I live literally 8 to 10 minutes from the Studio City location.
Oh!
Like I literally could I could drive there in 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Like I could drive there in 5 minutes and I would walk by it because it's on Ventura and I would go get ice cream on Ventura and eat on Ventura. And so I walk by it all the time. And, but again, I'm like, I can't afford to be a member. And I didn't find out about streaming until 2020. I didn't even realize that there were streaming. I remember when it was the DVDs, and it was like Metamorphosis and, and I remember wanting to buy the DVDs, but I was like, I'm never going to work out at home like that. It's just not a thing that I'm gonna do. And I didn't even like to work out. I like to, exercise. And so 2020 happened. I started dancing on Instagram. And then Maria was like, you should like take my live class. Like, I think you should take my live class. Like, you really need to like get into this. So I took her live class and it was the broom and the pole. And I had a Swiffer.
Oh, I remember your stories about the Swiffer.
I had the Swiffer. And that was my first real like class, muscular structure class.
Wow.
And it was so amazing and it was so difficult and I loved it because I'm like, oh, like this makes me feel athletic. This makes me feel like a dancer. I always wanted to be a dancer. So this made me feel like I was a dancer. And so then a really good friend of mine who is a streamer, she was like, oh, that they have online. And I was like, what? And she's like, oh, have you ever like looked up hashtag Tamily? And I was like, no. And so I looked it up and I was like, oh, like it's just people who work out to Tracy Anderson. Like I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, okay. She was like, no, like you like gotta like do a deep dive. Like they're like fans. They're like fanatics. They like love this method. And I was like, I mean, that can't. So I was like, that can't be a thing. So then I started using her streaming account. Sorry, guys. I was kind of cheating. I was using her account and I was posting it. And then one day I saw like my followers, like it was like, I got like 75 followers and then like 85 and then 100. And I was like, what is happening? And then Maria was like, did you see Tracy's Instagram? And I was like, no. So I went and checked Tracy's Instagram. She reposted one of my, I was like,
yeah.
I died. I literally wasn't, I still get goosebumps if she reposts or like even like 3 pink hearts on my comment, on a comment.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of how I got started. And then I got my own account finally. I was like, I'm gonna be a grown up. And started doing it. And that is my long, dramatic story.
That's how I started following you too. I saw you on Tracy's story and I was like, who's this guy? And I went over to it and I was like, oh, I'll follow him. And then you've become super official Tamily.
It's so it is the most bizarre experience because I feel like I'm still so new. Like I haven't done a Vitality Week. Like I haven't like really done the Zoom work. I feel like Tamily adjacent.
Well, that's
I feel like
especially after today. So it's been like a year though, or longer.
No, it's just been a year. I started during the pandemic. I started Tamily, Tracy Anderson Method around May of 2020. So it's just been a year.
Wow.
And I didn't even have my own membership until like August maybe. Because I did the lives. I started doing the lives, and then like after that, I think I got a streaming account after that because I was like, because my friend and I, like, she'd work out and then I'd work out and then we'd be like in the middle and you just never, and she wouldn't finish her workout. So like, well, I can't do it because she didn't finish it. And so anyway, so that's my journey. That's how I started.
What made it like different for you, especially because you didn't want to work out at home and things like that? So what really got you into it versus any other workout method?
So I think the first thing was like, obviously the pandemic. And so there was no, there was no working out outside of your home. There was no leaving your home. And what I discovered was I just needed to shift the conversation that I was having with myself about working out at home. Because I like want to be around people and I want to feed off the energy and the insanity and the cardio, and what I learned through doing Tracy Anderson Method is that she's doing it alone for us. So if she's doing it alone multiple times to give us, all the different levels, like what if I just try to do it? And I kind of liked, and it's funny because she talked about it this week in her talk, like I found it meditative in a way because I'm by myself, no one's watching me, no one's judging me. It's just me in my body doing something that like really made me feel good. I mean, I wasn't really like doing it honestly to like see, I wanted to like get in shape and like lose weight and like all of these things, but like I kind of just started doing it because I'm like, this makes me feel good. And it's a really nice challenge. And I like the way my body feels when I do it. And I like that I can do it again on my own. I can do it whenever I want. I don't have to sign up for the class and, I don't have to go anywhere. I just get to do it when I can do it, how I do it. And I love that experience. I love that experience of like doing something for myself, by myself, with myself, if that makes sense.
It does, totally. It's a whole different thing than working out at a place or going to a scheduled class. Like it really is. So we have a question from Perfectly Imperfect. They want to know, do you do attain?
So, how rude. It's like asking a woman her weight. How dare you? Okay. I've done attain, yes. Can I do attain? Sure. Is it what I prefer to do? No. I think attain is for people who've done Tracy a lot longer than I have, who've had the conversation a lot longer, who has the like mental strength to do it. And I think with attain, well, here's what I would say. If she does the chair, I can do the chair.
Mm-hmm.
I can do the chair really well. There's something grounding and comfortable about the chair. I can't do, not that I can't do, I choose not to do it if there is no chair, because I don't think that I need to be doing, I don't need to be in a lane that I don't feel comfortable doing for the sake of trying to be in attain, because everyone does attain. So they do in the studio and it's like, that's not my jam. You know what I mean? Also, I'm not doing headstands. I'm not doing it. Sorry, Tracy. I love you. I ain't doing it.
I feel this.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like, and also like, I don't have the singular slip frame to do that stuff. Like my body is not made to do that at this point. But I also don't believe, for me, and this is my personal unique experience, and that's what I've started to learn as of late about the levels, is I'm doing the level that feels good for me that week, that day, time-wise. And attain is just, sometimes it's an hour and 15 minutes. And I don't have that kind of time. You know, I'm school full-time, I work full-time, I have 2 dogs, I have Zooms, I have 12. I'm like, I genuinely don't have an hour and 15 minutes sometimes. Yeah. So I can't do attain. I can't do it, and I stopped shaming myself or feeling shamed for not doing it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good message.
Yeah, like I just like, sorry, I'm not Tracy, I'm not the trainers, that's just not me. I'm not all the people who do it. I didn't come to this method to compete with other people. I didn't come to this method to I didn't come to this method to compete with myself. Like I came to this method honestly, and honestly, like I want to just feel good in my body. And I know what I mentally have the capacity to do. And trying to force myself to do something I can't do, to feel bad about myself, to then judge myself, it's like, it's not worth it. It just isn't worth it. And I say that, and this is me, Johnny Webster, speaking for Johnny Webster. I know Tracy has a different mentality about it. I know the trainers have a different mentality about it. I know a lot of the Tamily have a different, mentality about it. I'm not here for them. You know, I do her method because it's wonderful for my body and I like it. But I don't do it to impress anyone. And I even sometimes stopped posting about it because I feel like there can be some shaming into like, well, you're doing beginner this week? Well, you're doing, it's like, yeah. And I was amazing at it. And it was great. And I loved it. And I felt good. And I went through my whole day feeling great because I did it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when I do intermediate is my challenge. That's when I challenge myself. And I love intermediate because it is a challenge. And I can fully do intermediate. I can fully do it. Do I always do it? No, because I don't sometimes have the time. Yeah. So what I do is I'll do start, beginner, and then I'll do like one of Tracy's dance with Tracy's, because then that'll I get a little bit more cardio in, and then, and then I'm good. But the weekends I can do fundamental. I can do fundamental on the weekends. But attain, I just don't. I'm not trying to attain. At this point, if it was in the studio, it's a different thing. But like at home, I check out. I just check out. And it's not because it's easy or not that it's not challenging, but it's just like no one's forcing me to do it. So I'm not gonna do it.
Right. So in the last year, what kind of results have you seen from doing this workout?
Well, my ass never looked so good. Yeah. Yes.
That's an excellent result.
My lower body is the biggest result that I've seen, and my arms are the 2 biggest results. I think as a man, I struggle with how to build chest and stomach because, well, not stomach necessarily because that's the, but because she is a woman with boobs and with breasts, and you are, she's not targeting your, that part of your body. So I don't have a lot of definition there. And that's something that I do something separate on my own that I'm starting to do for that. But I see the results in my arms and my lower body. My legs, which are my favorite part of my body anyway, have been like looking real good. real good. It's a real snack down there. It's a real snack.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
What about non-physical results or other sort of effects of the workout for you?
Okay, without getting emotional, because I'm not, I will say the one thing that Tracy Anderson Method has done for me is it's made me fall in love with dance again. I growing up wanted to be a dancer, but I couldn't do it. Grew up poor and in the South and in the inner city, and it just wasn't a thing that boys did, and it wasn't a thing that we can afford. And I always wanted to be a dancer and learn to dance. And I did briefly dance in college, and I did this MTV show called Made, where I learned how to dance. Yes, I was on Made.
Wow. I'm gonna go
yeah.
find that episode.
I have it. I can send it to you. It's not online. It's not online, thank God. But I have links to it. I can happily send them to you. Okay. I will tell you that you are going to be blown away by the Johnny in 2003. He had an accent. Really
oh my
accent.
gosh.
I was country.
Wow.
But yeah, so I started to dance, and then I moved to New York to pursue dance. I wasn't good enough. And that's a fact. It's not like oh, poor me. I just wasn't. You know, I learned to dance over the summer, and people train years to do that. So, but it didn't feel good to go to class in the different studios in New York, and so I stopped. And I really didn't dance again until 2020 when I started back doing Tracy Anderson Method. Yeah, and it made me fall in love with dance. And again, I'm still not very good at it in like a technical standpoint. Again, this is not like a poor me thing. Technically, I'm not a great dancer, but I love doing it, and I have the joy and the passion and the excitement, and I have fun, and I love it. You know what I mean? Like, and I love it, and that's one of the biggest things that the method has given me is my love for dance again. And I love the dance cardio. I still can't learn all the dances. I don't feel bad about it. My body does not move that way. Tracy wants to go right. I'm trying to go left. It's like we're having a fight. But that's her design, and it's beautiful. And I'm learning them. I actually love learning them, to be honest. And I just throw my own stuff in there. I'm sure she's probably like, oh, here he goes again, making up stuff. But again, I'm doing it for me. And she puts it out there so that we can do it for us. Like, we're doing this for us. And so I have to find ways to make it enjoyable. Mentally, I feel so good when I do it. You know, I hate doing it. I gotta put on the workout clothes. I gotta stretch. I'm old. I gotta stretch before. I gotta stretch during. I gotta stretch after. It's like, but I feel so good when I do it. Every time I work out and I finish a workout, I just feel the best version of myself. And that's been the biggest transformation for me, is like, I may not physically look like someone or some person, but I feel way better than I look. And that's so important to me. I know so many really fit, hot, miserable people. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, I'm not that person. And I'm super grateful for the method for that reason. I did, though, I have to say, there was a particular person that commented on my body and was like, well, like, if you're going to be in her videos and like posting, you really should like look better. That happened. Oh gosh. Yeah. Oh. Everyone, listen. Not everyone's nice. Yeah, not everyone. But but also, not everyone knows that I'm not also that nice. Try me. Right. Try me. You know what I mean? My bark is real loud. And again, I learned that as a kid. Growing up as a Black gay kid, you had to learn to defend yourself because I couldn't fight. So I learned how to defend myself with my words, and that's the one thing that this method has given me, the freedom. I have a voice. Like, I found my voice in this last year, through the world and the injustices, and through the pandemic, and through working out, and through finding, I've started to find my joy through doing this method and going through this world. And now it's like, try it. Yeah. Try it. Try it. You have such a good
perspective, Johnny. Like, honestly, it's very balanced. Like, you know, you're gonna be joyful, you're gonna share stuff, but you're also not gonna take any shit, which
No,
is
no. From anyone. Not even my mother. She even knows. Don't play me, lady. You might have brought me into this world, but don't come at me like that. I am grown, honey.
I love it.
She literally has called me 4 times since we've been on this thing.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad it hasn't interrupted our connection.
No, I have it on Do Not Disturb, and I was like, thank God, because she doesn't want anything. Although I think she got her Mother's Day gift, and she might be calling me to tell me she got it, but still.
Oh, that's nice.
Is it?
Is she going to know about your interview?
She doesn't even know where I live half the time, so no.
Okay.
She's not, I'm not crying if I talk about my mom, because it's the whole thing, so we're not going to talk about that, but my mom and I, the journey to where we are has been brutal and traumatizing for a lot of reasons, but we have a good relationship today. But I do, every time she calls me, I'm like, dear God, kill me. What now?
Yeah, I can sympathize with that too.
But again, and that is a sarcastic defensive mechanism that I just did, but it is a hard relationship. And so to anyone that's listening, happy Mother's Day weekend. To you who have moms, don't have moms, bad relationships, good relationships, like, you are loved, you are seen. I feel you. I have all of those things. My mom is a lot. She's a lot. So,
taking us back to the Tamily, who in the Tamily inspires you, Johnny?
Oh my goodness, I cannot. Okay, so here's what I will say. Let me go. So I will say that my first, like, Maria Kelling is like the most inspirational, and she pushes me past my limits all the time. She pushes me past my limits all the time, but she knows, like, she knows. And so I'm super inspired by her. Courtney, my goodness, is like voice memos me like corrections, and like, you think about this way and move that way. And and Courtney was the one that like got me through my first fundamental. She was like, get your own music. Like, put on your own music.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do you do that? And I just mute it, turn on the playlist. Holy cow, what a difference it makes. I also love the music that she has. I use it to run with. Like, I Shazam all her music. It doesn't work in the flow of a workout sometimes, but particular songs I Shazam and I have them on list. But having my own music, which is honestly a collection of all of her music.
Okay.
But the good songs, because some songs I can't
yeah.
I can't I can't fundamental to rap music. I just it's so bizarre. I can't do it. I can't. Like, dude, I'm like, I can't. So I have like, starting there, Maria and Courtney, like, incredible, like, stewards of this program. Kat and Sass, Cassandra is what I call her. Truly, truly amazing. Michelle in Toronto is like, she has a whole, like, Tamily, live your life. I like love her. And there's 2 girls, I don't know everyone's names because they all have like random Tam things in their names. And so I don't know people's names, but like, there's 2 girls, like, I don't know, I don't even know their names, but their Instagram names are weird too. But they're these 2 amazing Black girls, and they're like, I love when I see us. I do. I'm sorry. I love when I see us, because I feel like, sometimes like not seeing yourself in the world is really complicated. When you're doing fitness and you're doing things, like, if you don't see yourself, it's difficult to be inspired. You know what I mean? Because like, I know my body is made different. I'm a guy, number one, but also just like as a Black person, our bodies are built differently. So when I see Black people and there's 2 girls and I wish I knew their names and I can't look them up. But they inspire me. My very first inspiration was Emily.
Okay.
Because she was the only one that I would, she literally was on my feed. It was like her and then someone else and then her from the day ago and then someone else, then her from 3 days ago. It was just like, and the garage, and I was like, cool. Muna, oh my God.
Oh, God.
Loretta, oh my God. Like, just icons, you know what I mean? And I love all, I don't know. I'm inspired by people who like, this is like their life. Like they do this as for a living, and also they do it because they love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate that you asked me that question, because people who I didn't call, I'm like, why you didn't call on me? I'm inspired. I comment on
Well, I can say we would let you go on, Johnny, but we just don't have any more time for that question, so you will have to save the others for later. Okay, let's see. There's some questions in the chat, I think. There's just so many like happy faces and hearts. I can't find the questions. Lots of comments.
Oh my God, Kimmy C. Kimmy C. Sorry, she
Okay.
is, okay, and I'm done.
Okay, good, thank you.
I love you all.
So Jenny would like to know, where are you from in the South?
I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, Jenny. Born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. I grew up in the inner city housing projects. And it was all the things. It was good, it was bad, it was trauma, it was, but I don't regret it. I love being from Memphis. A lot of Memphis is going to be on that Made episode.
I can't wait to see it.
I took voice and speech, so that's why I don't sound that way anymore.
Okay.
Someone told me I sounded ignorant and I wouldn't be taken serious, and I cried, but that's a whole other story, which you can listen to when you listen to my podcast, Just Johnny Joy. Shameless plug.
No, you're gonna have to tell us, like, how do we listen and when is it all happening?
We'll get there.
Okay. She has a question. She said, what are you studying and what do you aspire to as a career besides making all of us smile?
I'm good. I aspire to be a facilitator of smiles. I am. So right now I went to school 15 years ago after high school. I went to University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. I went there for 3 years. I changed my major every semester. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had no business going to school that early. But I was the first person in my family to go to college at that time, and I didn't want to stay in Memphis, so I just went to school. And 15 years later, after getting sober and like 2020 happening, I was like, I really want to do something meaningful. I currently am a talent manager and I represent actors. That is my profession. That is my career. Going back to school, I wanted to go back to school firstly because I wanted to get my degree, because I regret never finishing it. Mm-hmm. And as I'm going through this program, I'm at LA Valley College now, it's a 2-year community college, and I'm doing a general studies, social and behavioral sciences major. And I'm doing that because I have always loved helping people. I've always wanted to be an advocate for people. And so by studying social behavior sciences, I'm learning, intellectually, how to help people, from sociology to biology, psychology. I'm taking African American literature. I'm taking child development classes because I have a love for helping people, children, and underprivileged youth to more particular. And then I just got into a 4-year school where the goal is to get a BA in liberal studies, to then hopefully go to grad school to get a master's degree in counseling, because I want to be a counselor at some point, whether I do it professionally or just as a nonprofit, as philanthropic. That's what I want to do. I want to help people.
That's excellent, Johnny. That is such an awesome goal that you're working on. That is fantastic. Gosh, there's a lot of comments in here. Okay, we're gonna have to ask a couple more and then go back to our planned questions.
Okay.
Maybella would like to know, which DC dance is your favorite?
I have to say, I love Haunted. It's so much fun. I love Haunted a lot, also because I just learned it. Getaway is good too, and I'm learning that. But like, I don't know all the names sometimes, but LaBelle is like everything. LaBelle is probably my favorite. I think LaBelle is my favorite. It's just like there's just something about it. I just love it, and it feels really good in my body, and so I can freestyle with it and move with it. And I learned Born This Way. Okay. Maria taught it. It is so difficult and so fun. Oh, it's so fun. I think all of them are. I like some of them. It was about to lie.
Don't lie in your ass family interview, Johnny.
No, some of them I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
Combo number 2. Mally taught that and I loved it.
I thought that one was pretty difficult. That one's difficult, right?
Oh, it's so difficult, but I like it. And also when I took my first class in the Hamptons in the studio, Crystal, she threw that one in there. And I was like, oh my God, I just learned it. Because I spent like 3 weeks in the Hamptons every single day learning a cardio dance because I was like, I need to learn all these dances because I want to one day go into the studio and do catapult and just glide across the floor.
That would be so exciting.
It's not going to happen, but you know what? I'm going to do my best.
It might happen. We have another question from Perfectly Imperfect. I think this is a good one. Is streaming still worth it when you have an apartment or limited space? I feel like intimidated sometimes seeing everyone's heaters and big spaces.
Okay. I don't have a heater. Can't afford it. I don't have a big place. Can't afford it. Although I am moving. I do it. I don't know if you can see this. Can I move? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So here is my living room. This is my living room, right? So this table is here. I move this table all the way over here. And literally this rug is like my workout space. That's all I have. Here's the thing. Cardio is difficult because I don't have enough space to move across my apartment. But the streaming is not that difficult, to be honest. Like you just make the space. I did it in like a hallway at a friend's house. Like literally in a hallway because you're not moving a lot. And I think that's what's great about it, especially like with the arms, like you just basically stand in one place. I did the arms in the bathroom. Yeah. Like I just was in the bath, you know what I mean? I just do them in the arms. Like it's just not. And then with like you just need to have enough space. Like if you can lay down flat on the floor, you can do it in that space. Because you're not really doing that. You're not making big wide. Like sometimes like, you're going over here, but like you don't need a big space. If you have a kitchen or a small bedroom, I see people literally in their child's room, like toys on the floor, like you can do it you can do it. You just have to just like get out of your mind. Again, the compare and despair. It's not healthy. I've seen people on rooftops in New York and like, in their big fancy houses. Great. That's fantastic. That's not my story. That's not my reality. And that's not a lot of people's reality, which is why we're not members. Like we don't have that kind of access and money. And I don't think it's meant for, I don't even think it's meant for that. I think the reason why there's streaming is because it's meant to be a personal experience in your home. And you just got to find the place in your house, and I have a window. And I live in the Valley in Los Angeles, so it's always hot. So I have heat coming through the window. But I sweat even if it's cold. Like I'll sweat just walking from my door to the garage. It's so hot. So don't ever doubt your space. Just, find a corner, move a bed, move a couch. I hate it because I'm having to move my table every single time. And then I got to move it back. I got to figure out which way I put it. And then I got, and like my weights are like underneath the like TV stand. It's real ghetto over here.
But you're making it work. That's what it's about. You just find your way to do it. So Johnny, have you ever met Tracy?
I have not. And honestly, that I haven't because I'm still alive. I would die. They'd be like, Johnny met Tracy. He went into cardiac arrest. He's no longer with us. But also, to be perfectly honest, I'm also terrified to meet her. Terrified. Okay. Like terrified. Because I've made up in my mind who she is. And I don't want her to be anything but who she is, who I created her to be. And so, she talked today about how like when she's in the studio, she like walks in, goes to the front, does her thing, and then she walks out the door, and I'm gonna be like, Tracy! And she's, she's like already like in her like jet on the way to wherever she's jetting off to next to teach a class.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how I honestly don't know how I would feel if I met her. I might cry. I might like shut down. I'm super thankful for her. She reached out to me a lot in 2020 with all the racial stuff, and she was so kind and so supportive, and we had really good conversations just via direct message, and I was so impressed with the level of care she took in those conversations and the way in which she asked about my sister who had a really bad experience at her job, and you know, she was so kind. And so my hope is that if I meet her, I just see her as that kind person and not the creator of this big, you know, method. If I can see her as that, I do believe my biggest fear is that I will curtsy.
Oh, I can't even imagine if you were in the Hampton studio and she had just like happened to walk in.
I literally would have probably just ran. I would have just ran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kim has a question for you. She says, what dancer inspires you the most, or what dance style?
Hi, Kim. She's always so fly in her videos. I want to know what she does and how she gets her situation. She's like in like Gucci and Louis Vuitton and her like, you know what I mean? She's like just working out. So my favorite dancer, I would have to say Alvin Ailey. I love Alvin Ailey. There's something so spiritual about the way his choreography. It's so beautiful as a dancer. Like he was such an amazing dancer, and I was always inspired by that as a kid growing up. Like I loved liturgical dance and like expressive dance. My favorite dance style, which I so am bummed that I always wanted to learn ballet. I think ballet is the most beautiful style of dance. It is just the most beautiful. And I always wanted to learn how to do ballet. Like I still wish at like 98 years old I could learn ballet, but I'm old and my bones are crickety. And modern dance is another one. Contemporary, you know, I just like the expressive dance. I like expressive, but like for me, like dance is just like sometimes just like wiggling and like, you know, like I see a lot of like dance. It's like that's not I don't know what that is, but that's not dance. That is having a stroke. But yeah, I'm a traditionalist. Like I like you know, like I'm so rigid, so I like precision and like do this and do that. You know what I mean?
So what is your favorite kind of music to use during your workout?
RuPaul. I'm not kidding. I literally have all of like RuPaul's Drag Race, like the seasons when they perform on the show, all those songs. I have all of my favorite RuPaul songs. I have a lot of the music that Tracy uses as well. Some of it's really great and upbeat. I kind of like upbeat, poppy, like music that I would dance to in a nightclub.
Okay.
Nightclub? What am I, 90? No, like music at like, you know, like dance music.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I like all of that. Like she uses like Vince Yara a lot, who I love. Like I love Vince Yara. And she uses like Livy or Lively or whoever she is, but like she is great. But it needs to be upbeat and like pop, like, but not poppy, because I just want to like be uplifted the whole time. You know? Yeah. I don't think I would be a good partner dance, so I can't cha-cha with you. Not Frank.
Yeah.
Nat Frank. Is it Nat Franks? I don't think I can partner. I need to be the star.
We don't mind. So Johnny, what would be your advice to someone that's new to the method or new to the Tamily?
Take your time. Take your time. Find what works for you. I think, and this is going to be so not the way it comes off, but I think starting out, the Tamily is overwhelming. because you're seeing so many different people doing so many different things, giving so much of their opinion about everything. And it's easy to compare and despair, as I said earlier. It's easy to look at you or like, you know, someone else and go, oh, they're really doing it, you know, and you see people that don't look like you body wise. And you're like, I want to look like that. But it's like, that girl's been looking that way for 25 years. Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to like, why did you join the method first? Like, I always say, why did you join? And whatever the answer to that question is, like, that's the goal. So do that. You know, like, I joined because I wanted to feel good in my body, and I wanted to have a workout that made me feel strong. And the Tracy Anderson Method makes me feel strong. And so for whatever reason, is it to lose extra pounds, to maintain? That's the goal. And the goal, and also my biggest thing for new people, and I have a couple people that are taking it now, I say watch the breakdowns. Always watch the breakdowns. I started watching the breakdowns. I don't watch them anymore because I don't like surprises, which is bizarre. But I think if I do the breakdowns first, then I am not surprised when she does like some like turntable move. So I stopped watching the breakdowns because I have enough knowledge now.
Yeah.
A year in, I kind of know the conversation.
Yes.
I just have to find it in my body, you know? So, you know, my advice is watch the breakdowns. Try it first without weights, without the ankle weights. I think sometimes, like, for me, I didn't do the ankle weights for the first week because I just needed to feel what I needed to feel in my body. And then I added the weights on, and then it was like, okay, now it's accelerated. But sometimes jumping right in with the weights and the like, it can be overwhelming. And it can, like, I had a friend that did that, and she didn't do it after a week. And I was like, well, you jumped in and you didn't really give yourself, because she saw me doing it. She's like, well, you can do it. It's like, no, but like, I couldn't do it for like 3 months. You know what I mean? I was just like dying. But like, you only see the 15 seconds where I got the move right.
Right.
You didn't see the other 30 reps where I was like crying. But I think it's so personal though. I think this method is so beautiful because it's so personal. It's your experience. So like, whatever reason you got into doing it, is like, that's what you got to think about. If you're trying to look like someone or be like someone or be like Tracy or be like the train, like, you're not going to get that because no one's telling you that. No one's going to be like, Tracy's not going to be like, you look like me, good job. Like, you're not getting that. You know, you're getting her doing the thing, and she talks to us all, and then she goes on with her day. You know what I mean? So I always think that's important.
What challenges have you faced in doing the method?
My back hurts. My lower back hurts. No, to me, the biggest challenge is motivating myself to do it. The biggest challenge. My life is so busy, you know, and fitness has never been an integral part of my life. I didn't do sports. I didn't do any of that stuff. So trying to jump into fitness and do it properly, like every day or every other day or 5 days a week, like, it's a challenge because my body is just like, my mind is like, no, my body's like, no, we can do this. But my mind is like, no, you can go, you got to do this other thing. You got to do that thing. And so the biggest challenge is that. The other challenge I face oftentimes is not feeling good about not being able to do the workout from start to finish without stopping. I always get mad at myself. But then as of 2021, I've given myself permission to be where I'm at and not think that I need to, because everyone loves me and everyone sees me, you need to be, and it's like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Right.
I'm where I'm at. And I'm not here to impress anyone, you know, and I was challenging myself in unhealthy ways. And Melissa Lloyd actually talked a lot about that recently when she talked about, you know, her binge eating and her eating stuff. And I struggle with that as well because of this method and because of the feedback that I get and the stuff that people write and say. And so, you know, my biggest challenge is like not trying to be like anyone but me and not trying to like overextend myself. Like, again, Tracy talked about this week of like the splits. I can't do a split. And so, but the challenge isn't doing the splits. The challenge is doing the move to the best of my ability and jumping back up and doing the weight transfer, as she says. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to do splits. I'm not trying to have my leg up to here because it's probably not going to happen. Not because I'm physically incapable of doing it. It's just that, like, that's not the goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and she talks a lot about this. I loved her talk this week because she was very like, beginner, intermediate, attain. Here is what you need to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And just, it's just a mental challenge. It's so mental. It's so mental. Yeah.
It is. Like, really, your body will rise to the physical challenge. It is absolutely.
Every single time I tell myself I can't do fundamental, I do it. Mm-hmm. Every single time. I'm like, I can't do fundamental. And I do it. And I do it all the way through. You know, sometimes for time, I do like 50 of the 300 minutes, feels like. Sometimes I'm like, Tracy, why are you still going?
Yeah.
We're done. My body is shut down.
Yes. Oh, God.
And she's still going.
Yep. Have you converted anyone to being a devoted Tamer?
A few people.
Awesome. That's awesome.
I know. I have like five, 6, 7 people that started. Yeah. I have a couple more that tried it, but then, you know, it's not for everyone. Because they look at me and they go, oh, it's like dancing. No, it's not. It ain't.
Right. It's like
if it was just that.
If it was just
dancing, I do it every day. I do it 7 times a day. It is not.
But that's fantastic, Johnny. You really are such an inspirational person. And
you guys are very sweet.
We love your spirit. So when was your first post to Instagram? Do you remember that one, and what was it?
It was Maria's live class, and I think it was like April 28th or something, because I needed to track it because when they asked me to do Tamily Tales, I had to go back to find out when I started. And it was April 28th or somewhere around there, because it was Maria's live class with my chair and my Swiffer.
With the Swiffer was your first post?
Yes.
Wow, I can't believe I saw your first post and I remember.
That was my very first post. Yeah.
The Swiffer was just very attention getting.
Again, I'm poor. That's what I had.
I don't know if anybody has some like real sophisticated pole they're using. Mine is like,
I looked on. I was like Googling like broomless brooms and like like what if I buy a broom and then saw off the end of it and like it's like, you know what, this Swiffer, I'm not using it to clean.
That's perfect. What is a move in the method that you used to hate that you now love?
The hydrant.
Okay. I get sick of that one.
But anytime we're doing like this, anything like that, I hate. See, only like the hydrant, anything where my leg is up and pushing back and forth, it's the devil. It's the devil. But when I feel it, oh, it's so good. Like when we go down and you're like here and you're going, I just kick something on my table. I'm a mess. But yes, the hydrant I hated it, and now I love it because I finally understand why it's almost there all the time. I love it.
Like it is almost in every single workout.
Every single workout, she's like kicking that leg. I'm like, lady. Yeah. I'm old. My bones don't move like that. This is a hem hock down here. You got those little stick legs that just move back and forth. I'm like picking up a boulder and trying to move it back.
So we've got, of course, more questions in the chat. Okay. So Perfectly Imperfect wants to know if you work out in the morning or at night or just whenever.
I do her lives in the morning, begrudgingly, because it's 6 a.m. for me. I'm not a morning workout because my body isn't fully awake, and I need my body to like really be warm before I can do a lot of the work that she does. Because if I don't, I feel pain. I typically do it between 1 and 2 because that's my lunch time. The earliest I would ever do it is like 11. Okay. but I typically do it during lunch.
Okay.
And I don't do it at night because I can't sleep. It wakes me up. I have had days where I've had days where it's been so busy that I didn't get to it that I'll do it at night and I'm like awake. But I think like midday works for me. But if I had to go into a studio, I would do it in the morning.
Okay.
I would do it in the morning because I'm working from home all day. I can pretty much do it whenever. But if I was going into a studio or when I go back to going into an office work, it will likely never happen. I will have to make myself do it in the morning.
Yeah.
Or like beg Tracy to like let me join the studio for $9.95. For the very low price of $9.95 a month. Yeah.
Kristen would like to know, how did the pup drop off go this morning?
Oh my God. It was okay. First of all, like the only reason why we're doing this live is because the pup isn't here. I was terrified. I was like, how am I gonna do this? Because she hates the crate, she screams, and then if I have her out of the crate, she's peeing everywhere. But the drop off was fantastic. She was so sweet. I took her to this rescue, and the rescue woman who I got my dog Dash from, she's like a one-stop shop. She gave her the vaccine, microchipped, all the medicine, dewormed, everything. And it was wonderful. We got photos, and the foster was so sweet. It was beautiful. And I literally dropped off and I prayed in my car and I said, God, thank you for giving me this experience, for taking care of her, for finding her a home, finding her a rescue, and for the lesson that I do not want a third dog or a puppy ever in my life. Amen. I love you.
How long did you have her with you?
3 days. Too long. Too long. Oh my God. I honestly didn't sleep any of those days. I haven't slept in 3 days. I made 6 cups of coffee because today's the first day where I'm not like looking around. Like I have to clean my house. It's pee everywhere. I mean, it's like I have hardwood floor, so it's fine. But like,
yeah,
she was the sweetest thing. And if I didn't have 2 other dogs, if I just had her, it'd be fine. But with 2 dogs who one dog hated her. The other dog was just like, but you don't love me anymore? I don't understand. It's like, no, I got to take this little shit out because you're going to pee on my floor. I'm not taking her out for fun. Right. So now I'm back to my life. I can get back to work. And I mean, I couldn't even work. I couldn't go anywhere. I was like a prisoner. This little dog imprisoned me. I was oppressed by a puppy.
Oh my God.
But Kristen, thank you for asking. It went well and I'm super grateful. And I'm just going to lie out on the floor.
That's excellent. Well, that is a wonderful, lovely thing to do. And I'm sure it's a good experience for Jack and Dash also, but they're probably glad that they're back.
They're knocked out. They're now in their spaces, peaceful and ready to go.
So now we have a question from Maggie. She says, if you haven't already answered this, what can the Tamily do to support your new Joy project?
Oh, Maggie. I love Maggie. She's so effing supportive and funny. So I recently launched my new experience, the Joy Experience, Just Johnny Joy. And so Just Johnny Joy is going to be this exploration of joy. What is joy? How do we manifest joy? How will joy lead you to your purpose? How do you find it? What if you don't have it? How do you get it? And so I started just an Instagram account for it, and I recorded my first podcast episode this week, and I'm editing it now. And the first episode will be about my exploration to joy, my past. I briefly touch on some trauma and some, drinking, behavioral things, but each individual episode will be about someone's journey to joy. And we're going to just have a conversation about it. I have my first guest who I'm really excited about. Her name is Crystal Joy Brown. She is currently Angelica on Broadway in Hamilton. And I've known her so long. And she's just Black girl magic. She's doing so much to bring equality within the Broadway community. And so and her middle name's Joy. And I just wanted her to be my first guest. And so each episode we're going to explore like the joy of baking, the joy of, like fitness, the joy of dance, the joy of song. And each person is just going to come on and talk about that journey. And we're going to listen and learn. And I started it because I started reading this book, The Book of Joy, by Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama. And there's these two composing opposite, religious, people, and they came together to talk about joy and what it means and how they related to each other. And I thought that's a really great conversation to have. The last year has been so brutal for so many of us, and I think a lot of us either lost our joy or never found it, and this year just beat us up, mentally, physically, emotionally. And I think so many people are struggling to find, a sense of self, a sense of peace, a sense of joy. And so I'm excited. So if you go follow at Just Johnny Joy on Instagram, I will be posting a preview to my very first episode this week, and it'll officially launch in June. Okay. So keep following. I'm gonna keep teasing it, but it's gonna premiere in June, and it'll be where you can find podcasts. It'll be Spotify, it'll be Apple. Okay. I think Google now has it. So the plan is to just spread it out, and I'll post each week there. And for all the Tamily, I'll be posting more on Just Johnny Joy, because it's my new venture, and I'm super terrified and happy, and it's a way of vulnerability that I've never really been before. Mm-hmm. But I think everyone needs a little joy, and joy is not the same as being happy. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the big lessons I've learned in this discovery and in my reading and in my research, that it's not about being happy. Mm-hmm. Happiness is great, but joy subsumes happiness. Joy, it absorbs it, and it's a far greater thing. Joy is a far greater thing than just being happy. Because the thing about happiness is, if you accept that you want to be happy, you also then have to accept that you're going to be sad. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't want to accept being sad, but they want to be happy, and it can't be both ways. With joy is an existence. It's an experience. It is a way of being. It's not a thing. Joy is a noun. A great pleasure, or feeling of great pleasure. That's what joy is. It's a noun. But joy can be a verb. It can be an adjective. It can be being joy, doing joy, finding joy. And so I'm all about the exploration of all of that. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to be sharing a lot of quotes that I've learned, my own experiences, the things that I do to find joy, that are practical and helpful for anyone, anywhere.
That's excellent. I am so excited about that.
Thank you. I've sent the first episode to a couple of people, and
it's very, very exciting. We will absolutely be watching and listening, and
thank you.
For sure. Well, we've actually been talking for 59 minutes already, which is pretty unbelievable, because I have not looked at the clock the whole time that we were talking, and I
my goodness,
watch the clock. So this has been a super awesome time talking to you, Johnny. But before we end, especially since Instagram will not cut us off at exactly 60, we do have some space. Is there anything else you would want to share with the Tamily at this point while you have this audience?
I think the biggest thing I want to share with the Tamily, and it's something that I've learned this year, is to just love yourself. I had to learn how to love myself. And until I could love myself, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't be anything. I couldn't help anyone. I found love for me through this method. I found love for myself through the injustices of 2020 and through the election and the pandemic and the racial unrest. This last year was brutal for so many people. And I think we forget how brutal it really, really, really was. And I think it's important to just learn to love yourself and know that the Tamily, and I especially, will love you until you love yourself. I did not know how to love myself, and people have shown me the way. And by posting the way that I post, by posting honestly, I feel like I get to stay away from the toxic positivity, but at the same time, I get to stay away from being negative. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's important to remember that we're all here to better ourselves. We're not here, at least I'm not here to impress anyone. If no one listens to my podcast, if no one watches, my stories or posts, or it doesn't matter. it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, like, it's my expression. It is the way I express myself, and I'm doing it as for my own expression, not to please other people. And I think it's important as a Tamily to continue to remember that we are doing this for ourselves. This community is amazing. The support is amazing. But at the end of the day, it is about your own self-worth and your own self-love. And so if you can find that, the power that you will have, the access to joy and power and strength is an amazing. It's amazing. So I leave you with just learning to love yourself. And if you don't know how, reach out to me. I can help you. I have lots of experience through trauma from sex, from abuse, from drugs, from alcohol, from manipulation. I have gone through it all. And through all of it, I've learned to love myself. And I hope you do the same. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Johnny. This has been a really wonderful time talking to you. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for asking me.
Does too. Absolutely. It's a joy to get to know you just a little bit better.
Just Johnny Joy.
That's going to be the screenshot we use for this interview. Thank you, Johnny. We look forward to your podcast soon. And of course, we'll keep watching your posts. Thanks for being interview 145.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It means so much. Truly.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to cry, so I got to go. Bye.
Bye.